What's up, everybody? It's Clark here for the BOS Sports Podcast. Celebrating after the Atlanta Hawks are now on a 2-game winning streak. And Trae Young, he's absolutely balling out of control as the Atlanta Hawks win 125-111 over the Washington Wizards. Trae Young, tonight, he had another monstrous double-double with 35 points, 14 rebounds, 13 for 26. Nice shooting day for Trae Young. 4 for 4 from the free throw line. Nice free throw shooting day for Trae Young. And 2 rebounds as well, 1 defensive, 1 offensive. Trae Young, over his last 5 games, has been averaging 31.8 points per game, 11.8 assists per game, a double-double, 46.8% from the field, shooting 52 for 111 over the last 5 games. As well, he's shooting 87.6% from the free throw line over the last 5 games, 36 for 41. Absolutely showing why All-Star selection was warranted for Trae Young. He should have been in the All-Star game. We still hope that he'll still get the nod and selection after a player potentially rules himself out. So the Atlanta Hawks themselves, they have 2 more games before the All-Star break. Nice trajectory here for Atlanta Hawks. Nice to see the new Atlanta Hawks players. Georges Niang, he absolutely went off in the third quarter, having 3 3-point shots, showing off his shooting touch. Zachary Rizachet as well had a nice day with 18 points, 8 for 12 shooting from the field, 2 for 3 from beyond the arc. Niang with the 16 points, aforementioned 4 for 4 from beyond the arc within that short span there in the third quarter. He wound up having a 4 for 7 day beyond the arc and 6 for 10 overall in field goals for Georges Niang. Dyson Daniels, another nice day for him, 11 points, 9 rebounds, nearly a double-double, 4 assists. We saw him have a double-double with assists the other day. Might we dream of a Dyson Daniels triple-double one day? I definitely hope so. So Dyson as well. We know him for his defense. He had a bit of a tough shooting day, shooting 4 for 13 from the field, 38.8%. But, of course, knowing him for his defense, he had a monstrous defensive day with 3 blocks and 1 steal. Vit Krejci, he had 12 points on 4 3-point shots. All his field goals today for Vit Krejci. 4 for 8, 3-point shot. Nice to see that 3-pointer come along. We see him maybe replacing Garrison Matthews a little bit here. Getting more minutes as Garrison Matthews, he's on an expiring contract. And the Hawks maybe seem to see Vit Krejci as, of course, the future as he signed that monstrous deal with the Hawks. Now it's looking like a complete bargain. I thought Vit Krejci would be, maybe like a little bit smaller version of Tony Kukoc. He reminds me a lot of Tony Kukoc from back in the 90s, but he's, of course, a guard, a smaller player, but he's very lengthy, very skilled there on the offense end. And so it'll be nice to see him fill that role, maybe even filling Bogdan Bogdanovic's role as well here coming into next season as Atlanta Hawks hopefully build a contender here for 25-26. So for the Wizards, the Washington Wizards, the Atlanta Hawks, they split this season series here with the Washington Wizards. Nice to do that as they certainly had our number back in November, winning 2 games before we, of course, beat them in the NBA Cup match. I went to that game. I've been to a few games here this season, including that last matchup versus the Wizards in November. And prior towards that, the first 2 matchups versus the Wizards, Bud Carrington, Jordan Poole, and Coolally absolutely took us to town and dominated us in that first 2 games, which they took. Of course, that was when the Atlanta Hawks were reeling with all those injuries in early November. So fast forward back to today's game. Bud Carrington today, he had 23 points, 7 assists, 9 for 13 shooting from the field, 69.2%, 5 for 7 from 3-point land, 74% shooting from beyond the arc today for Bud Carrington. Jordan Poole, he had 21 points, 8 for 17 shooting from the field, 1 for 8 from 3-point land for Jordan Poole. He is certainly looking for his 3-point shot. We saw him at one point in the fourth quarter, so we'll mention later in my game notes. He shot a 3-point shot and immediately crashed the boards. That's not much confidence there for Jordan Poole. And his 3-point shot. He had 6 assists, 5 turnovers, and 5 fouls. So a little bit of a tough day there for Jordan Poole. Corey Kispert, he had 13 points, 5 assists, 7 rebounds, 6 for 13, shooting from field, 46.2%. Malcolm Brogdon, who I'd mentioned on my podcast, as potentially being a free agent target for Atlanta Hawks this offseason. They could potentially need a veteran point guard there in the mix with Kobe Buffkin, and nice to have there uh, as depth. And Malcolm Brogdon, Tyce Jones, they'll both be free agents. And Malcolm Brogdon, he had a little bit of a struggle game today. 7 points. I believe that was all on free throws. And let's go back and check on this. Yes, he was 7 for 7 today from free throw land for Malcolm Brogdon. So that's always good to see. If you want one thing, you'd certainly want a veteran point guard, backup point guard, is to be stalwart from free throw land. But from the field, he was 0 for 6. And he had 4 assists, 3 rebounds. But he did also have 2 turnovers. A couple head scratching moments there. But still a potential option there for Atlanta Hawks. Aforementioned, he'd be maybe 11th or 12th man if he's willing to take on that role. Maybe sharing a little bit more minutes with Kobe Buffkin if Kobe Buffkin is delayed a little bit there in opening first half of next year, recovering from his shoulder surgery. Oh. So Keaton Wallace, Dom Barlow, we did not see any of them today. There were also DNP along with Garrison Matthews. Clint Capella, he's no longer listed on the injured list, but he was not among the active players today. It's a very interesting situation to track going forward. Is it possible that Clint Capella will be bought out? That's that's a loaded statement. There's not been any speculation put out online. I've seen that Clint Capella might be bought out, but of course he's not among the active players. So you have to wonder, have to think that might be a potential situation. Of course, he has a lofty salary this year. That would maybe quell some of the criticisms of the organization being cheap doing that. Well, anyways, going forward, Alex Sarr for the Washington Wizards. Sadiq Bey, former Hawk from last year. Alex Lynn, Chris Middleton, all out for the Wizards. As well for Atlanta Hawks, of course, we saw Karis LeVert, Georges Niang, Terrence McMahon all make their Atlanta Hawks debut today after being traded from both the Clippers and the Cavaliers. There's certainly reinforcements for the Atlanta Hawks on defense, and we'll see from there how everything else works out. Karis LeVert, he's on expiring contract, and we hope him to have a Lynn Sandy run here, absolutely going on a scoring tear off the bench to help him get a nice contract in the offseason, help the Atlanta Hawks win some games, and helping the Spurs getting better draft positioning, having the Atlanta Hawks 2025 first round pick. So the Hawks starters today were Trae Young, Dyson Daniels, Zachary Rizachet, Georges Niang, and Onyeka Okongwu. Interesting lineup there. Justin Champagnie to start the game. Twin brother of Julian Champagnie, who we saw just the other week. He got the game started off with a bucket. Both teams were off to a bit of a slow start as Trae Young, he drilled the Atlanta Hawks' first 3-point shot. So in this episode, we're going to do a little bit of recap of the Hawks-Wizards game. Then later on, we've got some Braves coverage, previewing the upcoming season. There's still some time left before pitchers, catchers report. Still hope they sign a reliever. And then later on this episode, before that, I believe, Karis LeVert will do a quick bio segment to put together on Karis LeVert, newly acquired from the Cleveland Cavaliers. A stalwart scorer, playmaker, and defender. We look for him to be a big part of this Atlanta Hawks team down the stretch. An effort to make the play-in. Maybe make some noise there in the playoffs here. So, going back to this game after Julian Champagnie, his brother, Justin Champagnie, he had the first bucket of the game. That'll be the first of his 10 first quarter points. He would have no points the rest of the game. But Justin Champagnie was absolutely balling out in this first quarter. After Trae Young, he got the aforementioned 3-point shot at the 10-minute, 28-second mark. As well contested, very tough shot for Trae. Giving the Hawks an early 3-2 lead. Zachary Rizachet lay in nearly 45 seconds later. Dyson Daniels around the 9-minute, 3-second mark. He got a lay-in. Nice assist from Jordas Niang. 7-2 Hawks early. Nice lead for the Hawks. Here comes Bub Carrington at 8-minute, 45-second mark with a jumper. 7-4 Hawks. Dyson Daniels goes to free throw line. 8-minute, 48-second mark. Hits 1 of 2. 8-minute mark. Justin Champagny. He got the tip-in layup. Zachary Vizichet, he got the bucket there. Jordan Poole bucket, 7-minute, 4-second mark. Sean Holmes got free throws, 2 for 2 at 6-minute, 42-second mark. As the Washington Wizards and Atlanta Hawks are both trading baskets early on there at that point after the Rashawn Holmes free throws made. It was 10-10 Hawks Wizards. Justin Champagny, he had the layup at the 6-minute, 20-second mark as the Wizards went up 12-10. Tristan Vucevic on the line got 1 of 2 free throws, making the Wizards lead 3 points, 13-10. Koulibaly, he got a 3-point shot there at the 4-minute, 34-second mark. 16-12 Wizards. Dyson bucket. Poole bucket seconds later. As the 4-minute, 13-second mark, it was 18-14. At 3-minute, 19-second mark, Vucevic had a tip-in layup, putting the Wizards up 20-14. After the Hawks had that nice little lead early, the Wizards were starting to build a little bit of cushion themselves. And the last Hawks field goal there in the first quarter at the 4-minute, 23-second mark, another one would not come until Larry Nance's 3-point shot there at 2-minute, 41-second mark. Trae Young, he got his rest. We've been seeing him go out there in the first quarter around the 6-minute, 30-second mark. Have to speculate. He's probably managing his tendonitis a little bit in the heel. So we see him playing a little bit, not only slightly reduced minutes, you might even see with his season average being around 36. Today he played just a little bit below 35. So anywhere they can, they try to give Trae Young a little bit of time off. It's kind of why I wanted to see him keep Bones Highland. They wound up waiving Bones Highland today, part of the Clippers trade, which sent Bogdan Bogdanovic to the Clippers. So Trae Young was off the floor during that time. The Hawks were really struggling there to score in that first quarter, which saw the Wizards take that early advantage. Malcolm Brogdon, he'd get free throws, and Vucevic tip at the 1-minute, 57-second mark. But Vit Krejci, he answers at Trae Young's 4th assist as Trae Young, he came back in a minute or two prior to that. 24-20 Wizards, pulling the Wizards lead to 4 points at that point. Caris LeVert, he got a nice corner 3 there at the 1-minute, 35-second mark. Nice play by Caris LeVert, pulling the Hawks deficit to 1, 24-23 Wizards at that point. 52-second mark. Trae Young got the Hawks to the lead again as he had another 3-point shot, having a nice day from the 3-point arc, shooting 5 for 14, having 5 3-point shots there in his 35-point effort for the Hawks. Corey Kispert, he had a basket transition after Justin Champagny. Seconds later, so Justin Champagny, Corey Kispert basket and transitions. Wizards are back up 28-26 after Trae Young hit that 3 at the 52-second mark, putting the Hawks up 26-24. So by then, that would Justin Champagny again. He had free throws, putting the Wizards lead 30-26. As the Wizards, they had finished with that advantage 30-26 there in the first quarter, having the advantage in field goals, rebounding, and not the turnover margin, but they would outshoot the Hawks in the first quarter 44 to Atlanta Hawks 34.5%. Out rebound them 19-16, and they would out turnover them as well. But unfortunately, that'd be in the wrong favor. Atlanta Hawks, they had 3 first quarter turnovers. I believe 2 of those were Trae Young. As Trae Young, he would have 6 turnovers today. Not good. But Hawks get the win, so not to worry about that too much. So we're going to pause here for a quick station identification. This is the BOS Sports Podcast. So starting out there in the second quarter, start off with a Trae Young makes an and one there and gets an and one play, pulling the Hawks within 1 point there at the 11 second mark. Malcolm Brogdon then got blocked by V. Krejci. Something notable as Malcolm Brogdon, he had the struggle day with 0 for 6 from the field, including that blocked shot by V. Krejci. Nice play by V. A little bit concerning to see as a potential free agent target for the Atlanta Hawks. It's off season. 8-minute, 36-second mark. V. Krejci hit a 3-point shot to tie the game, 37-37. Early second quarter is interesting lineup without Trae Young around that time after V. Krejci hit the 3-point shot. The point guard position was somewhere shared between V. Krejci and Dyson Daniels, both guards for Atlanta Hawks, and both can play a little bit forward as well at the 3 if the Hawks wanted to stretch them to that. And the rest of the floor saw Zachary Riza-Shea and Larry Nance Jr. So you have a lot of playmaking, a lot of passing there with those 4 players. And they're all sharing the ball handling duties a little bit to some extent, evenly spread. And Terrence Mann was there, hanging out there in the corner there on offense and cutting the basket, making nice cuts. It was a very interesting lineup for the Hawks and looked pretty nice there. And the Wizards answered back after that beat Krejci 3. Putting the score 39-37. Larry Nance, he got a second 3-pointer of the day there at the 7-minute, 28-second mark. Putting the Hawks back in the lead, 40-39. Terrence Mann, he got a dunk, 42-41 Hawks. Poole gets some free throws on the other end, 6-minute, 18-second mark, 43-42 Wizards. Between the 7-minute and 29-second mark and the 5-minute, 31-second mark, both teams combined for 5 points. As both the Atlanta Hawks and Washington Wizards were in a battle for those couple minutes there in the second quarter, a battle of who could not be worse at the basketball game. some absolutely uninspiring basketball. Some nice defense, of course. Corey Kispert there at the 5-minute, 30-second mark, hit a 3-point shot to quell that spell a bit. But that would put the Wizards up by 4 points as they'd start to go on a little bit of a run, build a little bit nice lead there. 46-42 Wizards there at the 5-minute, 30-second mark of the second quarter. Rashawn Holmes, he got a lay-in. Cool boy, he got a jumper, his 7-point at the 4-minute, 33-second mark, 50-49. He scores again, 3-minute, 32-second mark. Cool boy there, putting the Wizards up, 52-49. Beat Krejci at the 3-minute, 22-second mark. Hit 3, putting the Wizards lead to 3 points, 52-49. Rashawn Holmes, putback dunk off of Jordan Poole offense rebound. The broadcast and Tabitha Turner, who was absolutely amazing the broadcast today, commented that Jordan Poole has to be blocked out there. And that allowed the Rashawn Holmes putback basket off of Jordan Poole's 4th assist, 54-49 Hawks. And Atlanta called timeout shortly after that. Teaching moment, learning moment. Everyone there for Hawks was engaged except for the people who are supposed to box out Jordan Poole in that play. So Trae Young at 2-minute, 32-second mark, he got another 3-point shot, one of his 5 off of Onyeka Nkagu's 3rd assist. Love to see Onyeka Nkagu's playmaking. That would be his final assist of the game as he end the game with 3. Trae Young, he had another one. It's going on absolute tear there to end of the second quarter. Trae Young, he got another lay-in there, having 8 straight points, putting the Wizards lead of 3 points at that point. No, excuse me. That would be 57-54 Hawks over Wizards. The 3-pointer that Trae hit at the 1-minute, 57-second mark That saw the Hawks take the lead 55-54. Then Trae Young lay in off the Dyson Daniels assist there at the 1 minute 26-second mark. Put the Hawks up by 3. Trae went on 8 straight scoring pair there, unanswered. Corey Kispert, he had a finger roll there on the other end at the 1 minute 16-second mark. 57-56, Hawks lead by 1. And shortly after that, Trae Young's 19th point is announced there in the game that it was reviewed. One of his 3-point shots was, in fact, a 2-point shot. They took away that point. He had 18 points in that second. Trae Young, ball don't lie. The 1 minute 9-second mark, he hit 2 free throws, reclaiming his 19th point and then getting a 20th. 44-second mark, Georges Niang got 2 of his 16 points off a bucket there. Yeah, it's a 2. No, it's a 3. No, it's a 2. A bucket off of Trae Young, 6th assist. 29-second mark, Trae Young, he got a 3-point shot, putting the Hawks up 63-56. 9-second mark, Coulibaly, he got the free throw line, made both, got his 11 point, 63-58 over the Wizards. The first half, the Wizards, they had the slight lead, but the Hawks, they would still outshoot them. 45.8 to the Hawks, 43.5%. Before we get into more of the first half stats here, Hawks Wizards, you can pause here for a brief station identification. This is the BOS Sports Podcast. Some corrections in those game notes. 44-second mark, Georges Niang bucket. 56 Hawks off Trae Young, 6 assists. 29-second mark, Trae Young, he had the 3-pointer, putting the Hawks up 63-56. 9-second mark, Coulibaly got to the line, pulling the Wizards within 5 points there at halftime as the Hawks led 63-58. The Hawks, they were not out shooting the Wizards at that point. Correction there, the last half minute there, episode. So field goal percentage for the first half, the Hawks were shooting 43.5% compared to the Wizards 45.8%. 3-point line, the Hawks were vastly out shooting the Wizards, making up for that slight difference there in the field goal percentages. The Hawks were shooting 44% from 3-point land compared to the Wizards 18.8%. They were as well out rebounding, flipping the script from the fourth quarter. The Hawks ended the first half with the 32-27 rebounding margin advantage as well. They won the turnover battle with the Wizards, who had 10 first half turnovers compared to Atlanta Hawks' 6 turnovers. Trae Young, he already had 23 of his 35 points at halftime, 6 of his 14 assists at halftime. Monstrous game for Trae Young, as he's shooting 8 for 15 at that point. Good for 53.3%, 4 for 7 as well from beyond 3-point land. 57.1% shooting for Trae Young from 3-point land there in the first half. Vit Krejci, he had 9 points, 3 for 5 shooting from the field. All threes, as he would only hit threes on the day. Strictly a 3-man for Vit Krejci as well. He had 3 assists, 3 rebounds, and 1 of his blocks there in the first half. Zachary Rizachet, he already had 7 points, 3 for 4 shooting from field there in the first half. Georges Niang, Terrence Mann, Karis LeVert, they had a little bit of struggle there in that first half, shooting 4 for 12 from the field, 33.3% for the new Atlanta Hawks players. Of course, Georges Niang really helped flip that shooting percentage there in the third quarter. Bilal Coulibaly, he had 11 points, 3 rebounds, 1 steal, 4 for 12 shooting from the field. Bilal has absolutely gone off versus the Hawks, especially in those first two matches versus the Hawks. Today, we held them to a nice 4 for 12, 33.3% shooting from field. A little bit of that, and a lot of those effects. Of course, having Terrence Mann, Karis LeVert there, Georgia Sting in rotation there at defense, help quell and help the offensive, the Hawks' defensive presence there. So Justin Champagnie as well. He had 10 points all in the first quarter. 4 rebounds there for Justin Champagnie. He would wind up on the day with 8 rebounds. He had 4 of those in the first half. Sean Holmes, he had 6 rebounds first half, compared to Onyeka Okongwu's 2 rebounds the first half. He out-rebounded Onyeka Okongwu in that first half. So Corey Kispert, he had 11 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists the first half, 5 for 9 shooting from field. Tristan Vucevic, 8 points, 3 for 4 shooting. Jordan Poole, 8 points first half, 4 of his 5 turnovers the first half. As he cleaned that up in the second half, only having 1. Malcolm Brogdon, he had both of his turnovers as well in the first half. Only 2 points, both on free throws. Coming in 9th season in the NBA, he struggled a little bit. Of course, getting blocked by Vit Krejci as well on that drive, attempt to score. So the third quarter, it started with a Zachary Rizachet 3-point shot, the second of the day, put the Hawks up by 8, 66-58. The start of a 41-25 run, which saw the Atlanta Hawks in the quarter with a 104-83 lead. With awesome play by Georges Niang, he had deflections. You saw him in the breaks there and coming back from the breaks, talking to Zachary Rizachet, providing some of that veteran leadership that people have talked about and is coming over here and what he could provide for the Atlanta Hawks. Of course, I mentioned in Wednesday night's episode, the Hawks versus Spurs looked like they were missing a little bit that leadership, veteran leadership from Jalen Johnson there on the floor. So bringing in Georges Niang certainly helped with that. And as well, he shot and made 4 3-pointers there in that third quarter. He had 14 points at that point. Trae Young, he had 33 points, including a pull-up there by the end of that quarter. So he had 33 of his 35 points there by the end of the third quarter, including a pull-up 3 there at the 55-second mark and closing minute. 13 assists. Trae Young already had 13 of his 14 there by the end of the third quarter, capped by Larry Nance Jr. Junk in transition, the 1 minute, 58-second mark. It was a Trae Young and Georges Niang show there in the third quarter for the Atlanta Hawks. Terrence Mann, he got a nice transition bucket as well off Vit Krejci's 4th assist. Aforementioned, the Hawks would end the third quarter with a 21-point advantage, 104-83. The fourth quarter opens with a Jordan Poole bucket. As here come the Washington Wizards. They just go on a 19-8 run, capped by another Jordan Poole bucket there at the 7-minute, 10-second mark, bringing the Wizards' deficit to just 8 points at that point. Things were looking a little bit hairy for the Hawks, and Trae Young and Georges Niang, after absolutely balling out there in the third quarter, they got a little bit of a rest there to start the fourth quarter. Trae Young, they would come in a few minutes later, and Jordan Poole, around the 6-minute, 17-second mark, he'd missed a 3-point shot. Mentioned that a little bit after opening. He was a little bit looking for his 3-point shot. Of course, only shooting 1 for 8 on the day. And his confidence was a little bit low on that 3-point shot as well. Characterized in that play around the 6-minute, 17-second mark of the fourth quarter, where he immediately went to crash the glass as soon as the ball left his hands on that 3-point attempt. Vit Krejci, he had a steal seconds later on Bub Carrington, and Georges Niang, he hits a shot in the post, swelling that Wizards run by a little bit. Bub Carrington would have a 3 at the 5-minute, 22-second mark, bringing the Wizards back within a 7-point deficit within single digits. Vit Krejci had the answer on the other end, hitting 3-point shot of his own, 117-107. Dyson Daniels, he had a floater on Trae Young's 14th assist. Jordan Poole got the free throw line at the 4-minute and 6-second mark. 119 to 109, Hawks over Wizards. And that would be about the sequence that would pretty much end the game. Of course, the Wizards, they would wind up with a score of 111. They'd score 2 points in the final 4 minutes, really struggling there. And the action ended early as, let's see, at the 1 minute, 40-second mark, as Dyson Daniels was shooting free throws. The Wizards pulled all their players. The game was over. Deshaun Holmes would have the last score there for the Wizards. They would not score for over 3 minutes in the game. Tough game for the Wizards. They certainly have a lot of answers going forward, a lot more than the Atlanta Hawks. Certainly thankful not to be in the same position that they are. Trae Young, he had a layup at the 2-minute, 56-second mark. He has 35th point off Vit Krejci's 7th assist. And that's how many Vit Krejci would end on the day. With a nice 12 point, 7 assists, 8 rebound day. As stated before, Vit Krejci's right there on the door of a triple-double. May we see a Vit Krejci triple-double. May we see a Dyson Daniels triple-double one day. All these things to be excited about with our young core players here for Atlanta Hawks. So before we move on from basketball coverage, I'm going to talk about Caris LeVert a little bit. Interesting player coming over from the Cleveland Cavaliers. He was born in Columbus, Ohio, so he's Ohio native. I'm sure he was thrilled playing for the Cavaliers and is probably a little bit devastated leaving from there. Where he would move to Pickerington, Ohio after that, where he attended Pickerington Central High School as a senior. He led his high school team to a 26-2 record and the 2012 high school Division I state championship, earning the 2012 Associated Press All-Ohio State second team and the Columbus Dispatch Metro Player of the Year. LeVert's basketball journey continued at the University of Michigan, where he played for the Michigan Wolverines from 2012 to 26. Was a senior there. Despite his college career, he established himself as a versatile player, capable player playing multiple positions, facing significant injuries, stalwart in defense, aforementioned this podcast. He had some injury problems, including a surgery on a stress fracture in his foot. He was named the first team All Big Ten honors in both his junior and senior years, and was the fourth Michigan player to earn back-to-back preseason first 10 Big All 10 honors. In the 2016 draft, Caris LeVert was selected 20th overall by the Indiana Pacers, but was immediately traded to the Brooklyn Nets. His NBA career started somewhat slowly again due to injuries there, missing the first 20 games of his rookie season. He recovered from his foot injury. However, when healthy, Caris LeVert quickly showcased his skills. His best season with the Nets was arguably in 2019 to 2020 when he averaged 18.7 points per game, 4.2 rebounds per game, 4.4 assists per game, and setting a career high, having a 51-point game versus the Boston Celtics back on March 4th, 2020. In 2021, it'd see Caris LeVert being traded to the Indiana Pacers. He averaged 20 points per game in the 2020 to 21 season after his return from kidney surgery there. He had shortly after his trade to the Pacers. Caris LeVert joined the Cavaliers in February 22, again after a trade. Cavaliers, he's been a significant contributor, contributing to their playoff runs last couple of years. Of course, they lost disappointingly to the Celtics in 5 games last year. Some would say a gentleman's sweep. So his performance, he set a franchise record for most points in a fourth quarter during this game with the Pacers and posting high-scoring games with the Cavaliers. So that franchise record was with the Pacers, not the Cavaliers. Off the court, Caris LeVert is known for having overcome his multiple injuries and has expressed interest in becoming a basketball coach one day. As well, he's a big fan of Allen Iverson. So, Karis LeVert's career. Huh. It would continue here in Atlanta after he's traded there on February 6th to the Atlanta Hawks. And we saw him in his first game today. He had a nice 9-point day for Atlanta Hawks. 2 for 6. A little bit struggle from shooting. Nice shooting day from free throw line. 4 for 4. 3 rebounds. We look for him to be a stalwart contributor on defense, as well continue his hot streak shooting from 3-point land. Been shooting over 40% this year. As well, he's in a contract year, so we look for him to really ball out. Aforementioned, try to have some kind of Lynn Sandy run here, help the Atlanta Hawks bench, help the scoring off the bench, help Trae Young score, help Dyson Daniels score, help Zachary Riza-Shea score the basketball, help scoring at all angles, and play himself into a nice contract here this offseason. Likely with another team, the Hawks with Vit Krejci like to develop him. They will need a wing scorer. Of course, Terrence Mann will continue to be under contract, along with Georges Niang. You might see the Hawks make a trade this offseason to get under the salary cap there. They're projected to be about $5 million over the salary cap, so they might trade away one of the players acquired this season. Karis LeVert's, of course, on the expiring contract, so that won't be a part of potential trading away of some of the talent we acquired at this trade deadline. We'll see. The Hawks will still need an answer there at the small forward, backup small forward. But of course, with versatile players, Vit Krejci, they can all play the three. Dyson, Riza-Shea. So no short of options there for players flexible in position. As well, they could potentially add one in the draft, depending on where the draft picks fall. Could go. Of course, everyone knows I love both Thomas Sorber and Johnny Broom there. Forwards, JT Toppin, Noah Senge, they're all nice forwards. The Hawks could potentially look at Liam McNeely, stalwart shooter there. It'd be a nice option. Maybe pair him with a Johnny Broom selection. Might be a nice option there for the Hawks in the draft. I'd still like them to see him if they get that Kings pick. I'd like to see them select either Noah Senge or maybe trade up to get Thomas Sorber. Make sure you get him. And as well, they could still, if they don't have to give up that Lakers pick, they could potentially select another forward or another player there in the late 20s round. Although I imagine if they trade up for Thomas Sorber, it'd probably be a situation where they combine the Kings and the Lakers pick. But if they don't, they could select Noah Senge and then Johnny Broom and have would be a kind of a multi-year project with Noah Senge needing some physical development and Johnny Broom be instant impact there for Atlanta Hawks front court and rotation with Onyeka Okongwu, Mo Gay, Jalen Johnson, and they might be able to select a center there in the second round as well. But having a pick projected in the 45 to 50 range with the Timberwolves, you might have to trade up that pick a little bit as well to maybe have a shot at either Ryan Kalkbrenner or Danny Wolf. Rocco Zikarsky, he's been falling in the draft list. Not because of really in concern with Rocco Zikarsky, more because of players such as Johnny Broom just absolutely balling out this year. Johnny Broom, he was projected to be a second round draft pick and now is projected to be in the late first round. So, of course, on the number one Auburn team who just lost today to Florida. So, I didn't catch much highlights or stats from that. Something to go back and look at. Certainly, as Hawks fans, basketball fans, we're looking at prospects here coming in this draft. So, before we go, it's almost Brave season. I believe it's March 28th is opening day. February 23rd, I believe, is the first spring training game. And this Atlanta Braves team, they're in a window of a 7-year playoff streak. They made the playoffs the last 7 years in a row, which seen them advance in the postseason just one time. That is, of course, if we do not count the season that Braves fans call Mickey Mouse in order to criticize and detract from the Dodgers World Series championship. Although if the Braves won that World Series in 2020, I don't think we'd be calling it Mickey Mouse. But to move on from that, so I guess you could say the Braves have moved on, advanced, won a playoff series in 2 years, 2 out of the 7. That's still not a good percentage of advancing the playoffs. You want to at least advance in the playoffs, if not win the World Series. That's the ultimate goal, but at least have a nice playoff run. You could feel good about team getting revenue, maybe having a few extra dollars to spend in free agency. You never know with how cheap this franchise operates. I feel like the Braves, you can make that argument for a little bit, especially being one of the top markets in MLB. The Hawks, I'm not completely there on that argument by the fans that they're cheap, but we'll see in next couple of years after the salary offload how they use it, how they use all that cap space, all that space beyond the apron first couple of years. So back to the Braves here. They've earned a reputation, of course, as being regular season merchants. They were known, of course, as the team of the 90s, but since then, the Atlanta Braves, if you include the 2020 postseason win advancement, they've only advanced in the playoffs 3 out of 16 tries since, of course, the 1999 World Series loss there for the Braves. That's terrible. That's less than 20%. The Braves have advanced in the postseason in less than 20% of their tries since the turn of the millennium, which has earned them the reputation as regular season merchants. And unfortunately, after the last couple of years, after being clobbered by the Phillies, absolutely embarrassed by the Phillies in 2022 and 2023, the Braves take a little bit of a soft landing, being able to blame all of their problems on the very sad and devastating losses of Spencer Strider and Ronald Acuna Jr. After we go out very quietly there to the Padres. Complete embarrassment for a franchise. They did not go into a playoff series in the 1990s and lose. They did not advance. They advanced every time they got an opportunity. At least one round there. Of course, they fell in NLCS a couple times there in the 90s. So what to look for this Atlanta Braves team in 2025 is, of course, Ronald Acuna Jr., my favorite player, one of my favorite athletes all time, coming back from injury, and Spencer Strider as well, the dynamite stalwart pitcher, a phenom who broke of the year one of John Smoltz's strikeout records. So as well, we're going to see some kind of competition for the 5th starter job in spring training. We're going to see some combination of AJ Smith-Shawver, Hurston Waldrop, Ian Anderson compete for that 5th starting job there. Further down, the pitching prospects. These players have not been invited to training camp, so it'd be more what we look forward to in the season, and hopefully our pitchers stay healthy. We don't see too many of these players, as that's really what it means at this point. With the Braves not adding these players to the 40-man roster, they have control and over them, and that includes Ian Mejia, Drew Hackenberg, Juan Carlos Lara. 2 players we're maybe a little bit more likely to see are Luis de Avila and Hayden Harris. They're both candidates to be lefties out of the bullpen. The Braves need a high leverage lefty. They did not get a high leverage lefty. Aroldis Chapman was there. Tanner Scott was there. Danny Coulomb was there just a week ago, and he signed with the Twins for $3 million. That's just absolutely infuriating. The Braves could not land a pitcher like that. Speculation that the Braves lied to us. They said that their salary, their payroll would be about the same as last year. right now it's looking like they don't want to go over the $141 million first tier of the luxury tax threshold. And I don't really see an opportunity for them to do that between now and they could sign. Well, if they sign, I believe we're about around 10 million last I looked after the Jerks and Profile for signing. For that amount, probably sign. Be a nice reliever. Have him in mind. Luis Garcia, not to be mixed up with the Houston Astros Luis Garcia, but the relief pitcher Luis Garcia. And he might be able to be signed under $10 million. Not sure about that. Kyle Finnegan is currently projected to be over $10 million as a closer option for the Washington Nationals in the last couple of years. But he'd be a brilliant sign for this Atlanta Braves team. Other storylines for Atlanta Braves in 2025 to watch out for are the Braves' shortstop woes. Will Orlando Arcia finally find himself at the plate? And will we need Nacho Alvarez? Will he turn out to be a big league player? He certainly did not show much power in Double-A. When he came up to Triple-A, he had a few nice home runs. You'd like to see a little bit of pop in the bat coming up to the major league level. He, of course, did not have very good numbers in his limited stint here in Atlanta. Of course, he's had very nice numbers in Triple-A and Double-A. So that'll be a storyline to keep track of. As well, Atlanta Braves prospect Drake Baldwin. The Atlanta Braves, they do not currently have a backup catcher dedicated to their roster, to the opening day roster. What the Atlanta Braves are going to do during spring training, they're going to have a mix of Chadwick Tromp, Kurt Casale, and Sandy Leone, all battling for a chance to be the backup catcher. And of course, that'll probably be determined more by the pitchers than what us fans see in the games ourselves. So it'll be interesting to see the opening day roster. Who is the catcher? It'll be one of those three players. Drake Baldwin almost assuredly will start the year in AAA, get more reps as a catcher, and we'll probably see Drake Baldwin hit with a big league club. I imagine they'll work him in, especially if the Braves are looking towards a playoff push, looking to have their best guys on the field, the best potential players. Probably see Drake Baldwin, maybe somewhere around the All-Star break or later, come in and start getting reps at the big league level, getting them ready for what will hopefully be a very deep playoff run for the Atlanta Braves in 2025. I really wish they'd sign a reliever. I'd feel a lot more confident about saying that. Luis Garcia or Kyle Finnegan, please. There's a couple nice lefties left as well, but it'd almost be interesting wanting them to sign them to a split contract, such as Andrew Chafin, and I believe had another player down here, Jalen Beeks as well. Be another interesting lefty to have in the fold. They have some inconsistent numbers. Andrew Chafin's a veteran. You never know. Sometimes the Braves land some veterans. They get a little bit lucky there, having players that want to come and play with the team and getting them on split contracts. So something to hope for. But would at least hope for them to get either Kyle Finnegan or Luis Garcia would be nice options to replace Joe Jimenez's production there in the bullpen. Of course, Joe Jimenez, he's out for the year. They announced it in the fall. He had some kind of injury. Keep him out for the year. I believe he had surgery as well. So, can the Braves finally win a playoff series in 2025? Can they improve to 4-17? In playoff attempts to advance in the playoffs. Aforementioned, they've only advanced in the playoffs 3 years of the last 16 tries. And they make that 4-17. Aforementioned, I'd really like them to sign a bona fide relief pitcher. Danny Cohn, just aforementioned, he just signed for $3 million. Tommy Gnaley, former Yankee, he just signed with the Tigers. The Tigers got a very interesting squad. Some pin them to go deep in playoffs this year. And they signed a very nice reliever there in Tommy Gnaley. Ryan Stanek as well. He's off the board, gone to the Mets. So, aforementioned, two guys left. Luis Garcia, Kyle Finnegan. Luis Garcia, he's a high velo, mid to upper 90s, sinker baller. there. So it'd be a nice option. Kyle Finnegan, he's got closer level stuff. And then a couple nice option there from the left side, Jalen Beeks and Andrew Chafin. Although would like to see how Dylan Dodd looks out of the bullpen from the left side. I don't remember what year that was, but I think that was 2023. Dylan Dodd came out, I think it was an August game. He's throwing like 95, 96. He's throwing a little bit up there for Dylan Dodd. So maybe he can be an option there from left side, throwing mid 90s heat and a nice mix of off speed as well, giving the Braves a nice look from left side. Because you look around the NL and what do you see from the contenders? You see star batters from the left side. You see Juan Soto. He just came to the Mets. We're going to see him 13 times this year. You see Freddie Freeman, absolute stud from the left side. You see Shohei Ohtani, absolute stud from the left side. Bryce Harper. We're going to see Bryce Harper and Shohei Ohtani 26 times this year, and we don't have a high leverage left-handed reliever? What are the Braves doing? I don't know. So there's been chatter about a potential Braves Dylan Cease trade. That ain't happening. The Braves aren't getting Dylan Cease. That's an absolute dream. The Braves, they do not overpay for pitchers. That's what the Padres want. That's what the Padres did with Tanner Scott. That's what the Padres want to get back with either Dylan Cease. Michael King was signed a contract the other week, so he's likely not to be traded. Likely they're still shopping Dylan Cease, who's on an expiring contract. The Braves, they've not made an overpaid in trade in the entire regime of Alex Anthopoulos, except, of course, for the William Contreras trade. That one is absolutely awful. Huge overpay and huge mistake by AA and the rest of the Braves front office on that William Contreras trade. But other than that, we've seen the Braves give up very little, as even in the Matt Olson trade, we see pieces like that not really working out as well. So I don't think the Braves will come up with a palatable package for Dylan Cease. I don't think that'll happen. And I'm not too worried about the starting pitchers, as we got a lot of nice prospects there to potentially fill the role. I'm worried a bit more about the bullpen there. I'd like some combination here. We could get Kyle Finnegan or Luis Garcia there. Sign one of those pitchers. And then add either Andrew Chafin or a Jalen Beat on a split contract. That'd be a nice little pairing of relievers to have. I'd feel a lot better about the Braves relief pitchers. So I've suggested in my post, I'm still suggesting that the Braves, they go with a 6-man rotation there to start the year. Of course, last season, Chris Sale, Reynaldo Lopez, they needed extra rest there to start the season. Soon they're probably going to want the same. They might want to rest Spencer Schwellenbach some. He had Tommy John just the other year. He's coming into his first full year. It might be a good idea to give all those guys an extra day, as well as whoever comes out. Might work out less ideal probably for either some combination Ian Anderson, Hurston Waldrop, AJ Smith-Shawver, but Ian Anderson, of course, coming off the Tommy John, he could potentially need an extra day as well. But more likely him and the younger guys probably going to want to keep a rhythm, staying on regular days rest. But they're all athletes, they're all professionals. I'm sure they'll have no problem pitching extra day. So with a 6-man rotation, you'd be looking at a potential opening day rotation for the Atlanta Braves of being Chris Sale, Reynaldo Lopez, Spencer Schwellenbach. And then you'll have some combination of Ian Anderson, AJ Smith-Shawver, or Hurston Waldrop, one of those pitchers. And then the 6th starting pitcher, who the Braves might announce as their 5th starting pitcher if the aforementioned AJ Smith-Shawver, Ian Anderson, Hurston Waldrop thing doesn't work out. You could potentially have Grant Holmes there as their 5th starter if if neither Ena Anderson, AJ Smith-Shawver, or Hurston Waldrop work out. But I'd like to see them go with both opening day. Grant Holmes, he has no options, unfortunately. Spencer Schwellenbach, he does have options, which is why the Braves should not shy away from adding relief pitchers in free agency. If things are going so well that we have to cut somebody when Spencer Strider comes back, then do it. Why not? Waive them, trade them somewhere, get a little bit of trade return. But Spencer Schwellenbach, as well as if he somehow has a sophomore slump, he does have options. So that's just more reasons for the Braves to sign a couple relievers. Jalen Beeks and one of Kyle Finnegan or Luis Garcia would be really nice. So, of course, you can only have 13 pitchers on an MLB roster. That's already 6 there. But Grant Holmes, he doesn't have any options, so he can transfer to a relief pitcher later in the year. And that be probably the ideal plan with Spencer Strider coming back. And you have a 6-man rotation all year. You can just do it all year. Give those guys extra rest. Keep the rotation healthy. So the Braves relievers would be Raisel Iglesias, Pierce Johnson, Aaron Bummer, Dylan Lee, who has 2 options, Daysbel Hernandez, who has 2 options as well. Angel Perdomo is coming back, I believe, from Tommy John as well. He missed all last year. And then I'd like for them to add to that's already 6 relievers. Add Kyle Finnegan or Luis Garcia. Damn, there you go, 7 relievers. But we're looking at the Braves a little bit more realistically. We might see someone like Anderson Pilar as the back-end Braves reliever on opening day. Ooh. Who knows? He might do well. He selected in the Rule 5 draft there last December. Really would like for the Braves to have a high-leverage lefty. We'll see what Dylan Dodd does this year. This is probably his last chance with the Braves. Maybe he unlocks something. He's throwing that mid to upper 90s cheese from left side with the rest his off-speed pitches. He'd be pretty effective there from left side. So a little bit more long shot, but Hayden Harris as well. That aforementioned disappearing fastball. He's a little bit like Paul Sewald, but from left side. And don't quite envision him as a high leverage lefty, but certainly a potential interesting option from left side. Nice whiff rate with that disappearing fastball. Luis Davila as well, a little bit lower in the prospect rankings. Potential for him to potentially be a lefty reliever one day. He's in Double-A right now, so he'd really have to have a huge upward trajectory to crack the Braves roster in the early part of the 2025 Braves season. With our bullpen woes, I really fret the possibility of playing a Dodgers, a Phillies, or Mets in the postseason series. Of course, with all those star players, Juan Soto, Shohei Ohtani, Freddie Freeman, Bryce Harper, just be an absolute buzzsaw for right-handed relievers. Imagine going to an LDS, playing the Phillies or Dodgers, getting up in every game just to blow the lead to Bryce Harper, Shohei Ohtani, Freddie Freeman. It's nightmare material. Absolutely. The Braves will be more loaded than they have been the last 3 years with prospects. They got a lot of pitching prospects. At some point, they're going to have to pick which ones they want for the future. Being so loaded with prospects. So that's a problem coming up here for the Braves. They'll have a few pitchers that they might want to trade away here at this deadline. We, of course, have the extra pick as well from the compensation from Max Fried, so that might play into a little bit as well. Interesting storylines to look forward to. It'll be a fun season. I love baseball, love the Braves, love the being able to relax, chill out here, the hotter weather. The cold weather, I like to be a bit more active, get a lot of work in. The warm weather, I like to chill out a bit more. So nice to change the dynamic as well. BOS Sports Podcast will be moving to a weekly format from now until about July when my saxophone gigs start running out again. So I'm going to be playing a lot of saxophone here this spring. a little bit less BOS Sports Podcast. So we'll have our next episode Monday night. Before we do the sign off, we're going to have a quick station identification. This is the BOS Sports Podcast. So the Hawks, they have 2 more games before the All-Star break. A couple of tough matchups on the road, as we're going to be facing the Orlando Magic Monday and the New York Knicks back in Madison Square Garden on Wednesday. Oh no. Knicks might get their revenge. The Knicks fans might get their revenge on Trae Young. Hopefully not. Hopefully this new selection of players that Atlanta Hawks acquired at the trade deadline, hopefully gels a bit more with the team. Maybe you'll see Clint Capella back. Maybe we'll see him bought out. Not sure about that. Mo Gay, hopefully see more of him. He played on a back-to-back-to-back, so he's out tonight. Hopefully we'll see him back Monday. And keep all the updates online on Mike's account with the Hawks roster moves and action like that. So be sure to like, follow, and subscribe. Thanks for listening to this episode of the BOS Sports Podcast. Listen to previous episodes of the BOS Sports Podcast. Listen to Bar of Soap music on Spotify. And we'll see you again Monday night after Hawks versus Magic.